This is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. Today we're going to have a really nice, exciting episode, and this episode is based on some emails that I've been getting on my inbox, and actually, it gets really bad when I even get a call from my brother regarding health. So the one time that he's finally concerned a little bit about his health is when, they had the earthquake over in Japan, and, I guess it damaged a nuclear reactor, and there's a little bit of a radiation that leaked out in the atmosphere, and he's afraid because one of his friends called him and told him, dude, you gotta watch out for the radiation that's coming. Oh, they're coming. And so he's really scared about the radiation. He called me and said, John, what do you think about the radiation? Well, this video is in response to my brother giving me a call and to other people's email lists that's going out to saying stock up on things like potassium iodine and all this kind of crazy stuff. This is my view on that, and so once again, this video is for your educational purposes only. If you have a medical condition, please contact, a proper medical authority or physician. This, once again, is my opinion on this subject, and, once again, I encourage you to do your own research and be a free thinker. Think for yourself. Don't, follow the leader. So it's my understanding, that there wasn't like a major meltdown like Chernobyl or something. Now, if there was, then I would definitely be concerned. But based on my research, yes, there is some radiation, and it's not a lot of radiation coming our way. And you know what? There's radiation in the sky everywhere. I mean, when you're on an airplane, you're getting radiation from the sun. I mean, the sun's the largest source of radiation. And, the one thing I want to say about this is that we live in a fear-based society. And yes, if you are watching the news, reading the newspaper, watching the news on TV, or even reading certain websites, they're instilling fear within you. Oh, you gotta watch out for cancer, you gotta watch out for this, you gotta watch out for that, you gotta watch out for the bad guys, they're coming to get you. Lock your doors. But we live in this fear-based society now. I just encourage you to try to think outside the box and try to get outside this whole fear-based society. The fear-based society is actually a vehicle of controlling people, and to cause you to think certain ways and cause you to do certain things. Like in this radiation scare, it's causing everybody to go out and buy a lot of potassium iodine or whatever else people are buying to protect themselves. You know what? It's definitely good to have a solid head and a solid mind on things. And when you're confronted with some information, such as what's going on right now, the radiation is coming, you want to sit back and do a couple things. You want to think about it for a second, and then maybe go and do some further research. Well, when will it be here? How much is it? Is it really going to be a big difference? And yes, there's probably going to be more radiation than normal, but based on my research, I don't think it's going to be a big, situation. Now, if they have a meltdown, that's a whole nother story. So at least people are concerned about the radiation, the scant amount of radiation that may be coming over to us. But what I would like to say is that there's radiation in our lives that affects you more and more every single day in actually larger doses than what is currently coming from Japan. And let me get out the example. The example is this, and I know almost everybody watching this video probably owns one. This is your cell phone, and your cell phone puts out radiation every time you're talking on it, actually right at your head, right in your head. So in my opinion, you should be much more concerned about radiation from your cell phone than the scant amount of radiation that is currently coming over from Japan. Now, if they have a meltdown, once again, that's a whole nother story. We're not talking about that. So the first thing I'd say is get rid of your cell phone. You don't need it. Get rid of it. Get that radiation. And that's like, occurring radiation that you get like every single day. Every day you use your cell phone, you're getting more radiation. So what's worse, doing something every day that's really bad for your, doing something once a month that, is bad for you. I could deal with a little bit of radiation coming across from Japan right now, but I actually don't deal with radiation right on my head. So actually I rarely ever use my cell phone, only for extreme emergencies, and then I'd even rather find a payphone unless it's an extreme emergency. So we should be more concerned about what you're doing on a daily basis that negatively affects your health rather than, this one-time instance of some radiation coming over. I mean, if you're still eating McDonald's, I think eating McDonald's and fast food and highly processed foods is a much more dangerous to your health than a little bit of radiation. That being said, let's not be stupid. I am preparing myself for the radiation onslaught. So what can you do? Well, you know, here's the thing. I like to look to nature for answers. So in nature, you know, in the sea, for example, there's many seaweeds and algae been growing for thousands of years. And these sea plants have basically had to build up a natural defense to radiation. And so my choice is to, you know, basically every night this week probably, I'm going to eat a seaweed salad and eat some seaweed for dinner. So seaweed is a wonderful food. Seaweed and algae, I have heard, can help protect you from radiation damage. So I have just a couple with me that I'm going to share with you today. The first one is Spirulina. I also have some chlorella that I don't have a bottle of. So Spirulina chlorella. Also the blue-green algae. So I definitely love my algae. You could actually, these are in powdered form. You could use these actually in things like smoothies. You could mix them into your salad dressings at night. Even things like kelp powder could also be used. Very helpful. So next we're going to talk about some whole seaweed. So I like to enjoy whole seaweeds in my diet. Maybe once a week normally, but this week I'm going to really dose on it every day to build up some of those good properties that the seaweed has, including all the minerals and the protection, you know, according to what I've read, from things like radiation. Most health food stores will sell you seaweeds, and also if you want to save money, you could even go to your local Asian stores. Asian stores have actually amazing deals on some seaweeds. Let's go over a couple of the ones that I just happened to grab out of my kitchen today. And there's, you know, many more kinds of seaweeds. This kind is actually just a seaweed salad mixture. This is from Japan. I don't know what it says. It's in Japanese. If you read Japanese, let me know. But basically there's about 4 or 5 different kinds of seaweeds, and these are like not normal seaweeds that you would buy. They're like red, white, and different colors. This packet was like 3.5 ounces and cost about $10 to $15. So usually you have to go to an Asian store to find this. I don't know where I got this one at. Maybe it was in Hawaii. But definitely the good stuff. And I always like to get my seaweed from Japan whenever possible. So seaweed salad, definitely really good. Another common seaweed you could get is the nori seaweed. So the nori seaweed usually comes in the nori sheets. But what you might not know is that you could also just get nori, you know, before it's actually rolled into sheets in its natural form at your health food store. Or if you go into like an Asian market, you could get this stuff called laver, L-A-V-E-R. It usually comes in discs, and actually that stuff is the nori before it's processed in the sheets. A good nori when you buy it in the store will actually be a purplish color or black color. If you get the green stuff, then you're getting the roasted nori, and you know we want to eat things in their most natural state. So the purple nori is best, followed by the black. So on the nori here, you could just take this and, you know, roll things up in it. Roll some guacamole in there, you know, put some cauliflower in the food processor, pulse it up to make little rice bits, put that in there, put it in there with some avocado, you know, cut up tomatoes, bell peppers, and maybe a nut pate, roll it up and eat it. Definitely really good. You could also just take this and rip off sheets, or rip up the sheet and just spread it on your salad. You could actually take sheets, also put in the blender, blend it up. Nori is really versatile, really delicious. So next, let's talk about wakame. Wakame is another one of my favorite seaweeds, and this one, basically you can see the wakame in there, it's like dried little pieces. And basically I like to soak the wakame, and you only want to soak a little bit because a little bit soaked expands and actually makes a big portion. So soak a little bit, not too much. It then expands, and it reminds me of chow fun noodles. You're actually going to soak them and then drain them, and then it reminds me of chow fun noodles. It's kind of soft and rubbery. It reminds me of noodles. I love them. They're really good. I like to eat these. Just basically, I soak them, then pour off the water and squeeze off the extra water. Maybe cut up some avocado, some fresh tomatoes, and that's a seaweed salad for me. Really delicious wakame. And my favorite seaweed overall actually is this stuff here. It's called dulse. And the dulse is one of my favorite seaweeds because of the fact that it's, number one, it's a red seaweed, and so a lot of the other seaweeds are the green seaweeds. So eat foods of color, including seaweeds. The other thing I like about the dulse, it has a nice flavor. It doesn't taste too fishy. Now, I don't really like eating kelp too much because kelp tastes really fishy, but certain kelps are better than other kelps. So dulse doesn't taste fishy at all. So what you really want to do is you just, in the coming weeks, in my opinion, what I'm going to do and what I recommend people to do is just start eating more seaweeds. Seaweeds are an excellent food anyways. They have really high mineral content, especially if you're not getting your minerals from your land vegetables. And you're only going to be getting minerals from your land vegetables if you're growing it yourself and using rock dust minerals or ocean grown minerals. Most places don't do that. So once again, be sure to check my other YouTube channel, growingyourgreens.com, to see how you can grow your own mineralized food. Other than that, eat the seaweeds for your minerals, plus also eat the seaweeds to, help with the protection from the radiation. So I hope you've learned more today about my opinions on the radiation that's coming. This is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time, and keep eating your seaweeds. They're good stuff.